Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to see about thin cylinders, thick cylinders and spheres. Introduction of Unit 5 in the paper Strength of Materials for Mechanical Engineers. So the introduction part of this unit is where the cylinders are widely used. So in many engineering applications, cylinders are frequently used in transporting or storing of liquids, gases or fluids. So the majority of the applications of thin cylinders belongs to this pipes, boilers and storage tanks. So these are used to transport the fluids, gases or liquids under pressure. So when a cylinder is subject to an internal pressure, definitely there will be three types of stresses induced in the mutually perpendicular planes of the cylinder. So what are all the three stresses were induced while a fluid is under pressure inside the hollow cylinder? They are hoop stress or circumferential stress, longitudinal stress and then radial pressure. So hoop stress or circumferential stress, in the name itself it tells that the stress will be induced on the circumference of the hollow cylinder, that will be in the diametral part. So this is directed along the tangent to the circumference and tensile in nature. Thus there will be increase in diameter as because of its nature will be in tensile. And longitudinal stress will be induced along the length of the cylinder. It also will be in tensile in nature and hence the length will get increased. Then radial pressure. Radial pressure will be in compressive nature as because it will be induced on the internal walls of the cylinder due to the fluid flow. So its magnitude is equal to fluid pressure on the inside wall and 0 on the outer wall if it is open to atmosphere. So its inside will be fluid pressure will be compressive and outside will be 0 as because it is exposed to the environment. So from this image you can able to understand what are all the three stresses that have been seen in the previous slide. That is hoop stress. So hoop stress will act on the circumference, right? So this will be the internal wall and this will be the outer circle, that is outer wall of the cylinder. This portion will be in a hollow. So when a fluid is under pressure inside this hollow cylinder, then it will give some pressure on the internal walls, that is the radial pressure, right? That can be seen in this image, and this image provides the hoop stress, which means, so this line is nothing but dotted line, horizontal line is a cross sectional view. So the lower part of the hollow cylinder provides circumferential stress towards this side, arrow mark, right? And the upper half of the hollow cylinder provides circumferential stress towards the downside. And longitudinal stress is along the length of the cylinder, as you can see that in this image. So sigma L will be longitudinal stress and sigma C will be circumferential stress. PR is nothing but radial pressure. So consider a quite lower part or some part of this hollow cylinder. So the radial pressure will act on the surface of the cylinder and circumferential stress will be on the sides, and then length, longitudinal stress along the length of the hollow cylinder, longitudinal stress will act upon. So thin cylinders, how thin cylinders can be expressed, that is the internal diameter will be small letter d and the value of the thickness of hollow cylinder is less than or equal to the internal diameter by 20. What will be the value? That value is less than or equal to the thickness, then it will be named as thin cylinder. If the d by 20 value is greater than the thickness, then it will be named as thick cylinder. And then radial pressure. So when comparing to this hoop stress and longitudinal stress, the radial pressure will be very tiny, and so it will be neglected. So from this image you can able to see that what are all the parameters of the hollow cylinders, that is thickness, circumferential stress, longitudinal stress. So longitudinal stress will be along the length of the cylinder and circumferential stress will be on the circumference of the hollow cylinder throughout the entire length, and the thickness will be this line, right? If the thickness is less than or equal to d by 20, then it will be thin cylinder. If it is more than d by 20, then it is named as thick cylinder, right? So what is meant by bursting force, resisting force? These are all the parameters that will be helpful to evaluating the stresses induced in the hollow cylinder. So bursting force. So when the bursting takes place, if the pressure inside the fluid pressure is more than the resistance of the material, that is the hollow cylinder material, then bursting takes place. That is, if the pressure inside the cylinder is higher than this material resistance, then it will get busted or break down or gets failure. So the internal pressure will be on the internal walls of the cylinder, and then sigma c is the circumferential stress for this upper part. For this lower part, the sigma c, that is circumferential stress, will be in the towards upward, right? So this will be the cross sectional view, thickness of the hollow cylinder, elementary length of the hollow cylinder, internal pressure, and then circumferential stress. So circumferential stress will act like this, and longitudinal stress like this. Hope you get understand. So how these stresses induced in the cylinders are evaluated? So the evaluation of circumference or hoop stress will be understandable from these two images. So this will be the upper half of the cross-sectional view, internal pressure, and then internal diameter, thickness of the hollow cylinder, elementary length. So from this view, that is front view, this will be the internal pressure, thickness of the hollow cylinder, that is the solid part of the hollow cylinder, and then internal diameter, right? These are all the parameters that should be clearly understandable in order to get evaluation of hoop stress. So to determine the bursting force, so consider this small elementary length area, and the area will be like this dA. So the force on the elementary area, that is due to this internal fluid pressure, what will be the force on this area? So dF is equal to P into dA, that is pressure into area. So that is area will be R into dl into theta, so d theta, since this is a elementary area, hence these parameters are taken. So force is nothing but this hollow cylinder will be the pressure applied and then dl into d theta, right? So this radius will be reconstructed as d by 2, since twice the radius will be the diameter, right? And then horizontal component and vertical component are taken. So dfx, that is force applied on the x-axis, will be pressure into d by 2 into dl, that is elementary length, into cos theta into d theta. As we get studied in the engineering mechanics, in the horizontal component will be cos theta and the vertical component will be sin theta. So similarly like this, the vertical component dfy will be pressure again applied into d by 2 into dl into sin theta d theta. So on integrating 0 to pi, the limit will be, as this is a cross sectional view, the limit will be 0 to pi. If this is a full hollow cylinder, then it will be the limit 0 to 2 pi. So 0 to pi integral of p into d by 2 dl sin theta d theta. So the horizontal components cancelled out when integrated over semicircular portion. So this horizontal component, that is cos theta, will get cancelled out as because of it's a semicircular portions, right? As we had taken semicircular portion. So on integrating this, so p into d by 2 into dl will be the constant, will be taken outside the bracket, and the integration of sin theta will become minus cos theta and the limit 0 to pi. Then on solving this, we will get p into d into dl. P is the pressure and d into dl will be the projected area of this curved surface, right? I'm giving it the pointer, this area. So what will be the resisting force? Since we had calculated bursting force, the resistant force will be twice, that is 2 into circumferential stress into thickness into dl. That will be the resisting force due to circumferential stress, right? So under equilibrium, so the resisting force will be equal to bursting force. The resisting force is this 2 into sigma c into T into dl. T is nothing but thickness of the hollow cylinder. D is the elementary area length we had taken. So bursting force is P into D into dl calculated from the previous slide. So from this relation, circumferential stress sigma c is equal to PD by 2T. So from this relation, this one be obtained. So this is the circumferential stress evaluation. And then in the previous evaluation, we had assumed that the cross section will be cylindrical, and if there is in a rectangular portion, the area will be D into L. As we know that rectangle will be length into breadth, but in case of hollow cylinder, that will be assumed as D into length, breadth will be length L. So force due to circumferential stress is sigma c into area on which sigma c is acting. So resisting force sigma c into area of the rectangle will be length into breadth, right? So in this hollow rectangular block, the length will get length of cylinder thickness, and the breadth will be termed as length into thickness. Hence sigma c into 2L into T, that is 2 of L into T. Under equilibrium, resisting force is equal to bursting force. Again, we will be getting circumferential stress for rectangular hollow block will be PD by 2T. So we had completed the circumferential stress. Now we are seeing the longitudinal stress. As we know that longitudinal stress will act upon along the length of the cylinder. That is the force due to pressure of the cylinder acting at the ends of this thin cylinder, the white circle, tends to burst the cylinder as shown in figure. So this will be the thickness, and then the internal pressure, and then this longitudinal stress. So longitudinal bursting force, when the failure takes place, that will be calculated from this bursting force only. So P into pi by 4 d square. This will be the area of this hollow cylinder, right? Area of the hollow cylinder will be pi by 4 d square. So here d is nothing but the internal diameter of the hollow cylinder. So area of cross section will be pi into d into t. Since area comes from this circumference, since it is a hollow or cylindrical cross sectional, hence the area will be pi into d into t. So this will be the circumference, right? So resisting force will become sigma L, since it is a longitudinal stress acting along the length of the cylinder. So sigma L into pi into d into t. Under equilibrium, bursting force will be equal to resisting force. Hence, P into pi by 4 d square, that is internal pressure into area of the hollow cylinder along the length, which is equal to resisting force offered by the hollow cylinder, sigma L into pi into d into t. Hence, from this relation, sigma L is taken as left hand side, and solving this, we will get PD by 4T. Since sigma C, that is circumferential stress, is PD by 2T, so sigma C will become 2 times the sigma L. When comparing the equation 2 and 1, that is sigma C and sigma L, the relation will become sigma C is equal to 2 into sigma L. So with this, I conclude this session. We will see the strain evaluation in the next video. Thank you.